Hello SRP.
Hello.
Pleased to see you.
You too.
We're going to do some whisky tasting today. Hope you're not driving.
No, I'm not.
That's all right then. So the very first one we're going to try is Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey. Notice I'm going to ring stop on that. Now, for measuring, for tasting, we never drink, although I only ever drink my whiskies neat, we never drink them neat. It's equal part water to whisky. So just give it a quick swirl in the glass. Now, what I've got there is a hint of caramel and charred oak, a little bit of orange blossom, and manuka honey and vanilla. It would have been a surprise not to get the vanilla in that scent, wouldn't it? You have a sniff, see if you can. Is there anything that stands out for you?
Incredibly sweet.
Yeah, this whisky.
Without even tasting it.
So,
Vanilla.
I hope you don't mind sharing a glass. We've got opposite corners.
Thank you.
Right, then with that, it's thick and creamy. It's got notes of vanilla, tasty oak, honey, and a little bit of apricot. Oh, but it is very, very sweet. And I'm just finishing off the flavours to see what comes through. So if you try that. It's got a very long lasting taste and it's rounded and rich.
Did you say honey as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honey and vanilla I'm picking up.
Yeah.
Something floral as well.
Yep. And then just letting it go through, get the flavour through.
Hot as well. Or it appears to give the effect of all.
Yes. Yep. Well, the flavour lasts a very long time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's just the sweetness. I think it's just.
it's very sweet, isn't
It's
it?
quite excessive, yeah.
But that is, again, is because it's got the honey in it. Now, in between, just hook this up to a breadstick. And what we'll do is we clear the palate after each flavour so that we try the next whisky. So if you get yourself a breadstick and have a and have a nibble. The next whisky to try, Jim Beam Red Stag. This actually is a black cherry liqueur. So whereas most of the whiskies are 40% alcohol, this one's only 32.5% alcohol.
Makes some nice glugging sounds as well.
Yeah. I can smell the black cherries already. Just mix them up well. I can smell the cherries. I can smell a little bit of oak because it must be brewed in or distilled in oak casks. Very sweet. Have a sniff.
Sweet as the first one. So I think that's just slightly less sweet. Definitely cherry. It's very evident.
But I can smell a little bit of strawberry in that as well. Now, if I was out doing the tasting, I'd be spitting out what I've tried. Because I'm doing it at home, I'm swallowing it. But the reason I chew it is because you've got different taste buds all the way around your mouth. So if you chew it, it picks up all of the different flavours that you've got.
Yeah, you get the after effects more as well.
Yeah.
It's quite pleasant actually.
Right, so with this one, you've got tangy cherry, brown sugar, cinnamon gum, and a hint of strawberry.
Well, you were right. I wasn't really picking up cinnamon that well.
No, but it's only a hint.
It's subtle, isn't it?
If it was a strong flavour of honey, then you would probably be struggling with it because that's all you would taste.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a light whiskey to start with. I'm moving on to the last of my American whiskies. Everybody knows Jack Daniels. Do you like the fact that he's wearing his jacket and his helmet? There you go. Typical Jack Daniels bottle.
World renowned.
The most famous whiskey to come out of America. You notice I'm so used to pouring Jack Daniels, I forgot to measure this one out. But I've only done the same amount as I would have in the measurement. You'll notice I've got 6 different types of whiskey tumblers. Just to show that there's no real whiskey tumbler that you should need. As long as it's got something you can use your palate and your nose, it'll work. So now with Jack Daniels, that's a much stronger scent than what we've had up to now. It's light with plenty of sweetness. I get hints of dry spices and oily nuts, and I get a hint of smoke as well.
Thank you. Sweet, smoky. Picking up slight vanilla as well. But you don't get a sweet taste.
It's quite a strong flavour, isn't it?
Typical, because these flavoured ones are designed to be sweet, aren't they?
Oh, first thing I get, the smoke. That is quite a lot of smokiness in that. So this is quite smooth and soft with notes of banana, milkshake, a mixed nut, mixed nut notes, and a touch of caramel with creme anglaise. And I'm noticing as it's going on the flavour that it's sweet and it's long lasting. And I can taste a little bit of toasty oak.
You're very good at this. You're more refined than me.
Well, I've done the tasting before, so I've got my notes already written from what I've tasted before. And I wasn't under pressure on a camera then either. Right, I've only got one of these. A Japanese whiskey, Suntoki Whisky Toki. Now this one is quite a floral whisky. It's not a strong smell, but I can taste the sweetness. But I can also scent hints of floral, even more so than fruit. Like most of the others, you can scent the fruit, although there is some fruit in there.
So that's got more of a tang, a sour tang to me compared to the wider.
I'd say with the nose, it's got soft orchard fruits and thyme, honey. And thyme honey, and it's joined by a helping of peppermint in the background. That's on the scent. To start with, there isn't a lot of flavour, but as I start to chew it, I get more flavour coming through. So that's good for a light drink to drink on its own. So on the palate, it's got more green apple on the palate, leads along bright citrus notes from pink grapefruit. There's a slight bitterness of toasted almonds and vanilla, and oak lingers underneath. So that's where the final flavour, that's the flavour that came through last, because the oak is quite strong when it comes through. And then the finishing, I've found it's not that longer lasting flavour, so that's disappeared quite quickly, but it's white pepper and ginger and spice to finish off. So although it's very soft and it's not lasted a long time, it's not a bad finish.
No. Irish whisky.
Now we're going on to Irish Pogue, not to be confused with the American version, which is called Old Pogue. Recommend. So that's a lovely bottle, isn't it?
Matte finish.
Yeah. And I'm opening this fresh for the tasting. I have drunk a bottle of this quite recently. In fact, it was in a nice bright red bottle.
But the same one.
Yeah. You can always tell a quality whisky by how it's closed. So this one's a nice cork. Now I've got nice little tumblers with handles. Right, so we're coming on to the Pogue whisky, which is Irish. There you go, have a sniff of that one. So it's got a sweet smelling.
That's almost metallic.
Yeah, it doesn't smell natural, does it?
No.
So this one is sweet smelling malt with waves of toffee to follow.
Right.
So as you pull your nose away, the toffee scent comes in now. It feels like it's coming later.
Don't forget your breadstick as well.
Yeah, I need to clean my palate. I took in a bit of extra air there because I didn't feel like I was getting much flavour, and it made a big difference. So what's your thought on that one?
It's quite light.
Yeah,
A slight honey.
yeah. And what else do you find?
I thought it was metallic to the smell.
Yeah,
I wasn't really picking up much toffee.
but then the flavour's lingered quite well, hasn't it? I can still taste it now.
Slightly.
So it's smooth and creamy with toffee, vanilla, a touch of dark chocolate with some peachy fruit.
Right.
And that's what the experts would describe it as. And what I've noticed, and this is how I've noticed it as well, is on the finish, where when I'm letting the flavour carry on through, it's like a dark chocolate and fudge and vanilla on the aftertaste. Hence the reason why the taste is lingering, because fudge and toffee does linger. Now I'm coming on to one of my dearest whiskies. This one is the Haig Club. This is a single grain whisky. For the club membership, this is the one. There is another version. It looks like a smaller bottle, although it holds the same amount. That would be the cheaper version. I've had both. If I'm honest with you, I'm happy with both. So I'll just pour some of that into here.
Let's have a look at the bottle.
Putting that into one of the better whisky glasses.
But this is a Scotch whisky, isn't it?
It is, yeah. What I've got left to taste now, I've got 2 Welsh, 5 Scottish and 1 Irish. Right, this is one for you to savour. I can get a nice fruity smell straight away. It doesn't jump out at you. You have to sniff it quite a little bit just to get the flavours to come through. You have a sniff of that one and then have a taste.
Picking up cream.
If I say to you, it doesn't jump out at you, but there's more than meets the eye, stroke,
Orange.
nose. It's got apple crumble, expressed lemon peel and a touch of mango. It's also got the scent of millionaire shortbread, banoffee pie, coconut milk, dried grass, orange, Turkish delight and cardamom.
Orange and the cream.
But the reason it smells so sweet, it's orange Turkish delight.
Oh, that is light.
It's a really easy to drink whisky, isn't it? As I was chewing that, there wasn't a lot of flavour, but as I started to swallow it, now I'm getting all the flavours coming through. smells delicious, it tastes delicious, and very light. So it's toffee and vanilla palate with pleasant supporting oak notes, fresh banana, nothing artificial about that. A hint of honey with honeycomb and nugget.
Yeah.
That is really nice and refreshing.
Yeah, light. Very light.
And the finish, I'm getting it now coming through, of praline, cinnamon and a little bit of ginger. The ginger is that tiny little bit of sharpness that you've got right at the back, as it's probably there now. And it has a hint of cardamom, and that's returning right at the death. So now that the flavour's disappearing, you can just taste the cardamom now. That's probably a flavour that you're not familiar with, that you wouldn't always associate. You don't normally separate that flavour. Now we're coming on to Woodsman. This is a blended malt, or a blended Scotch whisky is what they call it. What it means when they say they're blended compared to a single malt will change according to the weather conditions for each year. So every year they make it, it will taste slightly different. When they make a blended malt, the flavour will always be exactly the same. I want to measure it because I'll end up putting too much water. We're about halfway through now. Now there isn't a lot of scent to this. Just doing this because it might be that I've still got the scent of the other whisky. That's better. It really does make a difference. Oh, I'm getting the smell of sandalwood as the foremost scent.
Okay.
Honey, almond slices and sawdust. None of them are a strong scent.
That's very oaky to me. Oaky and smoky.
That's actually a sandalwood, which is a strong flavoured wood. If you was to have a fire and you're burning sandalwood and you get into the smoke, you can taste it and it's really strong. Talking of smoke, that's very smoked. It's a very smoky flavour. Now then, that's got some mixed messages on that particular. It's very creamy, and in fact you can feel it coating your mouth.
Yeah.
It's got vanilla, ginger root and slight grain sweetness. Just feeling the aftertaste now. It's got, which is something I have already mentioned, it's got a touch of smoke. I can feel that now. And then underneath, and then a spearmint and cinnamon finish. You can just taste that spearmint at the back of your throat, can't you?
Slightly.
It's not one of your favourites, I can tell.
No. I'm not too keen on the oaky ones. I'm much for something slightly sweet and light.
Yeah. Now this one, Abberfalls, this is a Welsh whisky, first released in August 2021. It's the first time a North Wales distillery has produced a whisky in over 100 years. And I like this one, it's very nice. Again, this one is a single malt. Most of my whiskies are. Quite a strong smell to that, but it's a very sweet smell. It smells creamy, with like a creamy malt. I'm getting a hint of dried nuts. Oh, you have a sniff now. Caramel and crystallised fruit, dates and prunes. That's the scents that are coming through.
It's very sharp.
Yeah.
Almost assaulting the nose. Slightly fruity and nutty, yeah. Definitely nutty. Quite sharp, slightly creamy, not terribly fruity.
It's quite a soft smell, taste, very creamy. You picked up on that one, and in fact on the palate, vanilla and toffee cream, zesty orange peel, heaps of sherried sultanas and dried fruits. A gentle spice picks up with cloves, earthy coffee and extra dark chocolate, studded with nuts.
It's quite a complex one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And you're finishing it off now, and your creaminess is there more than it was when you tasted it. So it's creamy texture, vanilla fudge, hints of berries and cherries, sherried fruit cake. That's really quite complex, but you got all of that lasting through, and soft barley pieces.
Still there now, isn't it?
Yeah. Hence the reason why it's so important we have our breadsticks too, and just get another one when you finish that. This is my other Welsh whisky. This is one of my favourites of all time. This particular one is Penderyn Legend. There are 3 versions. This one is one of the softer flavours. I don't like it too peaty. Its nickname is Welsh Gold. I finished off my last bottle, so I've got to start a new one for this tasting. Again, a nice glugging sound. This is one of the stronger alcohol whiskies as well, at 43%. Most of them at 40% or less. as you will notice that most of my whiskies are not full bottles. I do enjoy a nice tipple, but I don't go extravagant on it. I'm not going to talk about this one until SRP's had a smell.
You're putting the pressure on me.
No, because it's all about what you smell.
Yeah, peaty, earthy. Okay. White and creamy. Slight vanilla. Strong aftertaste.
Right, so the aroma.
Does linger.
Ooh, I love the smell of this. Its aromas of fresh apples with citrus fruits, cream fudge, sultanas and raisins on the nose, creating a complex yet fresh, clean and well balanced smell. That's a flavour that's a whiskey I could sit and taste all day. On the palate it's smooth with both fresh and dried fruits, abound delicate and sweet on the palate with a hint of bitterness to keep it fresh. It's a good description, I think. The flavour is long lasting.
Yeah.
It's got a long finish with an aftertaste of Madeira cake and sultanas. Now I'm coming on to Isle of Jura. This one is a single malt Scotch whisky and it's red wine cask finished, which is very unusual. So this is not your normal Isle of Jura whisky. But this is yet another one that I haven't started.
We are lucky, aren't we, today?
You are, because I'd have been having these anyway, eventually. Nice sound of that, I'm screwing the cork. First thing you notice, it's quite dark. It smells very smoky. Unusual smelling notes though. Let's see if I can notice some of them. I can't tell, but what I've got on the smelling notes, it's dark berries and forest fruits, a gentle floral, wafts of vanilla and creme caramel.
Just reading the fact of the case, it says the Isle of Jura is home to one road and one pub.
Right.
And it's off the west coast of Scotland. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think we need to visit the Isle of Jura.
And go on a distillery tour.
There's one distillery there.
So what's your idea on the scent?
I'm almost picking up banana.
Mm.
Banana milkshake. Slightly peaty. It's very similar to the JD, but a bit more fruity. The original.
Yeah.
Daniels. It's very light, but there's a strong bitter aftertaste. Initially, you don't get any strength. And that's a delayed bitter, a bitter hit. Getting kind of herbs at the end. Really something.
At the end, I get a very smoky finish. So it's sultanas and soft summer fruits with a raspberry tang and juicy strawberries and gentle vanilla chai spice. But it doesn't mention on here about the smoke. That's a very smoky whisky. So the finish, I can taste a bit of this cinnamon and red fruit, continued with spicy oak roasted malt and a creamy finish. You can feel it coating your mouth, can't you?
I can now. Yeah.
But that's the finish, that's not in the flavour when you first try it. We're coming on to some of the normal everyday type of whiskies. So we've got now Whyte and Mackay. This is a normal blended whisky. It's 40% alcohol, and this is what you call your traditional style whiskies. So it's one of your lower priced whiskies. In fact, I think I paid £17 for a litre.
Now, does the price, in your opinion, impact the quality?
No. And I think you'll find that when you try this. My notes that I've put, I've actually mentioned how it compares with the likes of Famous Grouse and Bell's Whisky. If you get things like Bell's and Famous Grouse, they're meant as an everyday drink.
They're quite ubiquitous, aren't they?
Yeah.
The most common ones.
Have a sniff of that one. Now this one you need to get your nose into, purely because the whisky tumbler is not very wide, so you need to sniff it before you taste it.
Sure. I can't pinpoint. It's like a mild fruit. Again, it's like banana to me.
Well, you're not that far away in a way. If you think about it, the nose, it's creamy, which you've got, vanilla custard, flashes of dried fruit, and malty like a bowl of porridge, and lots of heather and honey. So although it's not banana, it's not that far off.
No. Custard, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Not too impressed with the aftertaste. I don't find that particularly pleasant.
Well, that's not your favourite by any means, is it?
No.
Right, so on the palate, it tastes like sweet dried fruit molasses or maple syrup, a hint of woodiness, malted milk, biscuits, burnt sugar crust off a creme caramel, dark rum coming through more. Dark rum coming through. It's got more taste than the likes of Bell's and Famous Grouse. So if you want it milder, you'd have the Bell's or the Famous Grouse.
Yeah.
Now, of that, I'm not so keen on the Bell's, but the Famous Grouse I love.
Right. And what do you find the differences between grouse and Bells?
The flavour. They're just totally different tastes. Right, so now we're on to Johnny Walker Red Label. Looks like I can get drunk after I've been out tonight. I wonder what it'd be like if we tasted it all put together.
Rather you than me.
As you can see, although we've got quite a lot of whiskies, we haven't drunk that much.
It's just 6, isn't it?
Yeah. Before I sniff it, I need. Now this whisky is marginally more expensive than the likes of Whyte and Mackay. You're talking about £2 to £3 more.
Right.
But they have blue label, red label and black label. The darker the label, the more peaty it is. So this being the red label is the lightest in colour, so there's less peatiness.
Okay. I'm not a fan of peatiness in whisky.
No.
I must find it too sickly.
Yeah, it's very, very strong tasty.
It's probably why I gravitate more towards the sweeter ones. Because it's at the opposite end, isn't it? Yeah, dry and woody.
It has a surprisingly rich aromatic nose with heather honey, mixed peels, soft smoke and rum spice.
Smoke. So you find that fairly bland.
But it's quite pleasant if you was just sitting there having a drink.
Yeah, it's not
So on the palate,
overbearing.
it's a softwood, cedar wood, oak and butterscotch, aniseed, Christmas cake and malt. And the aftertaste to finish, it's supposed to be a long finish, but I don't find that long.
It's almost gone.
It's spiced nose with a smoke on the tail. And now on to the last of my Irish whiskies that we're doing today. This one is called Writer's Tears, and this is the copper pot. So unlike most of the boxes, you don't expect it. The bottle's nearly gone. But you'll notice the shape of the bottle is very similar to the shape of the bottle in the penderyn. I've saved the best glass for the last whisky.
Is this your best whisky?
It's the most expensive. It's not. I don't know if it's the best. I haven't opened it, but that's the most expensive one that I've got at the moment.
How expensive would you say?
Around £50 to £60 a bottle.
Wow.
Always save the best till last. I only just brought enough water really in. Now I know with this one there's no smokiness at all in the way they make it. That doesn't mean there won't be the taste of smoke. It's got quite a strong flavour, it's quite a strong smell. I quite like the smell of that. So it's soft and sweet with thick honey spread on granary toast, hints of citrus peel.
Right.
Have a sniff, I'll let you taste first.
It's different, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, that is a peaty aftertaste. Smoky and peaty.
Now, I'm not getting any hint of smoke, but yes, I can taste the peat. With this one, on the palate, honey develops on the palate, mellow notes of vanilla and golden malt, green apple skin, caramel and a hint of oak.
No.
So I think it's the oak that makes you feel like it's smoky.
Yeah. Right.
So we're now going to move on to my most expensive whisky. Tandhu. Now this is a 10-year-old. It's probably more commonly bought as a 12-year-old. Got to break this in. And I will talk about this one before you make your comments as well, because there is a little bit to note about this one, and it might just help you with the way you perceive it when you've tried it. Because although I've not tried this whisky here, I have tried this at a distillery. I like to tour the distilleries. So I can smell strong spiciness. I'll tell you what it smells like. It smells like oak aged cola. Makes you think somebody's put Coca-Cola in your
Well, that's
whisky.
how I like my whisky a lot of it.
It's a full, rich, round smell of dark fruits, things like oranges, cherries and raisins, and all steeped in brandy or sherry. Christmas cake spice mix of cinnamon and cloves. It's a very Christmassy drink.
It's a complex.
So you have a smell and taste before I do.
That's a hint of sweetness there, definitely. That's a balance between sweet and peaty.
What you thought?
Did you say Christmas cake?
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's a very pleasant drink. So on the palate, I'm getting I'm getting sherry notes, orange peel, softly sweetens on the palate, along with blackcurrant or cranberry juice. Warm winter spices are in it, and this makes for a great hot toddy. Although I wouldn't want to use my dearest whisky to make a hot toddy.
So you just take that neat. So
Well, I would.
yeah.
Imagine I take all of them neat. And to finish, I'm getting this oakiness.
Yeah.
It's got heartwarming spice coating the tongue and throat. I can feel it coating the tongue, I can't feel it coating the throat, but it normally makes sense if it's coating one. It's got black pepper and cayenne pepper, which, rather than chili heat, but it still has a fiery kick at the end. Yeah. That's all the notes for this.
Right. Thanks for inviting
So,
me.
I hope you've all enjoyed this, and I hope it's of a good use to you with all the notes that we've given you. Look forward to seeing you for another video soon.